Hey, how you doing? It's Rory again. It's been a while with a full-length video on one of my cars. This one here is an 82 Rabbit pickup, also called a Caddy. Had this one probably about 3 years, maybe close to 4 years. It's gas powered, it's not diesel. Everybody likes diesel ones. They're good because there's no emissions testing on it. But this one's a gas one. It actually passed smog. I picked this up from the second owner. It had 80,000 miles on it at the time. It was all original when I got it. Stock wheels, stock height, everything was original on this thing, everything. I lowered it simply and put these wheels on that I got from a buddy of mine. Right now it has 83,000 exactly on it. They made these trucks from 79 to 83. They were also produced in the United States, in Pennsylvania, at the Westmoreland plant. Interesting story with that plant was, it was originally a plant built by Chrysler to build their own cars. And what happened was, Chrysler never finished the plant and it sat vacant. So Chrysler was on hard times in the late 70s. Almost into bankruptcy. And Chrysler sold the plant to Volkswagen, because that's Volkswagen's first plant in the United States, to build cars. And actually, the funny thing is with that is part of the deal was Volkswagen had to give Chrysler engines for their new first of the front wheel drive cars, the Omni and the Horizon. Yes, the Omni and Horizon for the first 2 to 3 years was powered by a Volkswagen engine. Interesting thing though is the Volkswagen engine in those were all carbureted, where a lot of these were CIS fuel injection. Volkswagen had that plant, I believe, for 10 years. I think they stopped building up there in 87 or 88, 89. And they built all the square headlight Rabbits, these pickups, and the square headlight Jettas you see in like 85 and 86. They don't have that composite headlamp, they have the square lamps. So that plant ended up, after that, I think, became a TV plant, and they built TVs there. Now it's an industrial park, similar to around here. So that's a little history with the Westmoreland plant and Volkswagen and the Chrysler connection there. Truck was bone stock engine wise and all that. I didn't modify anything there. The only thing I did do, this actually had a 4-speed transmission in it. It's manual. And I did put a 5-speed in it, and the 5-speed I put in it was out of a diesel. So my 1, 2, 3, and 4 gear ratios and the final drive are the same as my 4-speed, but I do have a 0.72 overdrive, which is really nice in the freeway, because this thing was screaming at 60 miles an hour, was screaming close to 4,000 RPM. Now at around 60, I'm around 3,000 RPM, which is pretty damn good. Lowered it with a set of solo work coilovers. Very good for the price. They're not really that expensive. On the rear, just suspension plates, basically it's a plate that moves the hub bearing the stub upward to lower the car. I didn't do a flip or anything like that in the rear. Like I said, I wanted to be able to reverse all this stuff if ever done. On the front, I put the Rabbit GTI style chin spoiler on it. Just cleans it up a little, makes it look a little sportier, gives it a little nicer look, stands to it. Had the tonneau cover made for it. My friend Dan Miller did it. Awesome job on this tonneau. Fits perfectly, beautifully. And the reason why I went with this again was it originally had one on it before I got it, and it was long gone and destroyed, so I had to put it back on there. This engine in this one is a 1.7 liter. I think the 1.7 liter put out 78 horsepower, 80 horsepower, something like that. Not a lot of power. but it's pretty peppy for what it is. It's actually very fun to drive. It's not like, oh my God, it's gonna be so slow I can't get out in traffic. No, it's pretty, I wouldn't say very peppy for what it is. I grew up with Volkswagens. Some of the first memories I have of cars as a little kid was my father's Volkswagen Rabbit. He had, I believe it was a 77 or 78. It was tan, had brown interior. It was a diesel 2-door. Had the mag wheel factory hubcaps on it. It had the stripe down here. That was a double stripe here, and it said Rabbit, and it had the picture of the bunny here. Really cool decal. No AC car, nothing. And I remember a couple road trips when I was a little kid, going up to Canada and stuff in it. And but I remember when I was really little, when he first got it, I would crawl up on the floor of the thing, and I look down there to this day and go, wow. I remember that. I remember the shape of the heater box when I was that kid. But my whole family were Volkswagen fanatics. That's all they had. My father had Volkswagens up until, I think, 92 or so. And at that point, he didn't buy another Volkswagen diesel. And they were strictly diesel people. And he didn't buy a Volkswagen diesel because they became too expensive. So he actually switched and went to Honda, of all things. And I believe he bought a HX Civic, which was the high mileage Civic, because my father's pretty stingy with money and likes fuel economy. He's big time in that. Even to this day, he loves his fuel economy. He's got his hybrids now and stuff. So, but and then after a bunch of years, after he got a ton of mileage out of the Honda, talked very highly of the Honda, he ended up buying another Jetta wagon, a Mark IV Jetta wagon, in 2000. And that was a 5-speed TDI Jetta wagon. And then he had that for a bunch of years, a bunch of mileage, and then he finally went over to strictly hybrids. But after his Rabbit, he actually purchased a 86 Jetta, which was the Mark II turbo diesel. That was also a German-built car, not built in the United States. It was German-built, and not fast by any means. Better than naturally aspirated, totally. But and he drove that for many, many years. And I remember some road trips visiting him out there, and we drove that from Washington all the way down the coast, inland to Nevada with it. And he'd get like 60 miles per gallon with that thing. He was big time in the mileage. He still is. And it was a really cool car. It was red, and another car I've been looking for. Not easy to find anymore. And he got rid of that after it had many miles on it, and that's when he got the Honda. His original Rabbit, I think he ended up getting rid of that in like 1985, right around the time. Well, he actually had the Jetta at the same time. That thing had like over 300 and some odd thousand miles. It was low on compression. It would eat up glow plugs. You actually would have to push the car to like 30 miles an hour to get it started. So it was pretty worn out. Not rusted out or anything, but the engine was just worn out. But at that same time, my father bought my stepmother a turbo diesel Rabbit, and that was, I believe, in '83. And that was a Westmoreland built turbo diesel Rabbit. And that was in this weird gray, greenish gray color. It was a really nice car, but my father never cared much for it because he knew it wasn't a German-built car. He really liked his German-built Volkswagens. So anyway, that's my background in Volkswagens. I love Volkswagens. You know, right out in, when I was young, 16, 17, I worked at a German car place in back in Danbury, Connecticut called Axle Auto Parts. And these are what we delivered parts with. I mean, literally, Rabbit pickups, Rabbit diesels. I mean, I had many hours and time and days and everything driving those cars. And owned a few over the years, and really loved them, and always wanted to get a Caddy or a Rabbit pickup, and I found this one. So you open the hood and check it out. Under the hood, like I said, bone stock, nothing ever done to it, other than obviously timing belt and stuff like that, regular maintenance stuff. Non-air conditioning car, nothing. Like I said, I put that 5-speed in. The great thing about these Volkswagens is everything is simple to do on these cars. Everything. All the maintenance is simple. Pulling the transmission simple. I mean, literally pull the transmission less than an hour. Get it back in there, same thing. So nice to work on. Timing belt, do with your eyes closed practically. Well, not really, but you know. Just simplicity. I mean, these cars are like totally analog. I mean, not like a modern car. I mean, just so much nicer to own because of the simplicity. So let's take a walk around it. These wheels are not BBSs. They're actually Enkis. Yes, a Japanese wheel on a Volkswagen. But they were the right price. Thanks, Justin. And they look good on it. As you can see, it's got the original license plates, the original dealer plate frame, all there. Originally from San Francisco. It was originally owned by somebody who worked for Lockheed or Douglas there, and then moved down to Long Beach and worked down there. And then they stopped driving it years ago. Let's check out the interior. So you see here, it actually has a GTI style cluster. It's really not. I ended up getting a GTI cluster out of the junkyard, out of a car that was missing its windshield and everything, and the cluster was really destroyed. But I was able to salvage the tack out of it. So I dismantled this, took out the clock, and put the tack in from the GTI. And the needles there, you'll see down there on the gauges, originally on the GTI with the tack, this needle in this red would be over there. This would be reversed. The reason why it's like that is I had to use my temperature gauges and fuel gauge from my clock cluster. And on the clock cluster, the temperature was down here, fuel here, or reversed, and the needles went along with it. So yeah, it still reads, it just reads from here this way instead of from here to this way, but it works and it's accurate. 83,001 miles on it. That's all original. It does have an audio system in it. Not much of, but it's a very simple system, and nothing is out in the open or exposed. That's the factory pocket. This right here is actually a small Bluetooth amplifier, the size of a credit card. It's all mounted back here with a knob. Simple on and off knob here to turn it on and off, and it connects automatically. And there's 2 speakers behind the seat. The shift knob, that's just one I got off the internet. It says 5-speed. It's actually aluminum. It's not rubber like the GTI one. The regular golf ball, but it looked kind of cool. I just put it in there. Dash is all good shape. These dashes, hey, remember California, everything gets destroyed. Well, not when they're garaged. This dash is still in very good shape. Glove box door is a little sticky, super common. That's just the way they are. No cracks in the dash or anything. It's very clean. Door panels are good on it. The seat upholstery is, almost perfect. I mean, there's no rips or tears in it. Carpet's still in good shape. The steering wheel here is out of a later cabriolet. It's like the GTI wheel. I just like the way it looks better. What I would like is the 3-spoke wheel that came in the sport truck, or Scirocco's, or certain early Rabbit options, but it's really cool looking, but very difficult to find. So let's go take it for a ride. Take it around the block, see how she runs. Yeah, this little truck drives good. Pretty fun to just jump in this thing, just cruising around, not see another one on the road. There is actually a couple of them out here in Simi Valley that I see, but other than that, you don't see them too much. funny thing is you know, Chrysler, you know, Dodge and Plymouth came out with their own version of this. Again, they copied Volkswagen with so much different stuff, but they made the Dodge Rampage and the Plymouth Scamp. And they were little pickups based on basically the Omni, and just like the Omni was a four-door version, they made a pickup version of the Omni, and the rear suspension, same thing. It's a beam with leaf springs, no coil springs, leaf springs, just like this has. So they really did copy a lot. Even the engine design, the 2.2 liter, a lot of its architecture and its design is very similar to this 1.5, 1.6, 1.7, 1.8, 2.0, 1.9 Volkswagen inline 4, the 8-valve motor. It's very much the same. You know, Chrysler copied Volkswagen on a lot of things. So, you know, they just didn't know which way to go. You know, there's people out there that say, oh, well, the person who designed the Trans 4, which would be the 2225, is the same guy who designed the Slant 6 and this and everything. Yeah, but you take a look at the 2.2 next to this motor, and you go, yeah, it's different, but I can see where it's very similar. By copying Volkswagen as they did, great idea. Look into the Westmoreland plant. Read the history on it. Look at it. You'll go, wow, holy crap, you know? If it wasn't for that whole deal with Chrysler and the help, wow, think about it. The Omni would have got probably a Mitsubishi inline 4. That's one thing about this car, the way the handling is. It doesn't handle like a 2-door or 4-door typical Rabbit. There's a lot more wheelbase here. And when you come into a corner with this thing, it'll push. It likes to push. You know, lots of understeer. But the power? There's 50. There's 60. That's not too bad. It's just so much fun to drive. I mean, it's not the most nimblest thing, but it is pretty damn nimble. It's all that wheelbase that slows it down a little bit. I think they made, when it comes to production on these, they made something around 75, 80,000, between 75 and 80,000 of these. And that's really not a lot in the realm of things, considering they rotted out very quickly. So they are, you know, they're an interesting find to see today. It's not like we're going to be driving down the road and spot another one and go, hey, you know. I see them out of the cage, like I said. There's 3 of them out here in town. Yeah, I really enjoy this little car. It's a lot of fun. I did, up until about 6 months ago, I had a 79 Rabbit diesel. 2-door hatchback. That was a cool car. That was actually a overseas delivery car. So the person who ordered it actually bought the car here, but flew over to Germany, took delivery of it there, drove it for a week or two, and then brought it back to the plant or one of the local dealers there, and they put it in a container and ship it over to the dealer of your choice, and they re-deliver it to you. It's a really neat thing. Volvo does a similar thing with their cars, and I believe Porsche does it too. You can actually save a little bit of money doing that too, because you save on some taxes. You don't have to worry about these taxes from purchasing it here in the States. I forget exactly what it is, but that was a really cool car. It was a diesel. I sold to a guy up north. I didn't drive that car either. That car sat around. This one here has been sitting for about 4 months. I have not been driving it. this morning I just decided, let me move it. And this one here was there, and I'm like, you know what, let me take it. And, you know, CIS fuel injection, which is not electronic, it's mechanical fuel injection. And it doesn't pulse fuel into the engine, it's just a steady stream. Pretty archaic, but it works. This thing, as soon as it gets fuel pressure to it, fires right up. It doesn't matter how long it's been sitting. This thing will start right up and run like it hasn't sat for a month. I know a lot of people that, you know, said, oh, you know, they always go, oh, why didn't you buy a diesel? Why didn't you buy a diesel? The diesel ones were better, and you don't have to worry about this. Well, first of all, the diesel ones are a lot more money than the gas ones. Second of all, I don't really plan on swapping any engine into this. I did have thoughts of swapping a 2-liter in it, ABA engine, which came out in the 90s into the 2000s, because it has a modern fuel injection and decent more power than this. I think like another 35 horsepower more than what this one is. But it works. It runs great. It drives great. There's nothing to, yeah, it's not fast. It's not like break your neck quick. But it's an honest, fun to drive car. I mean, I've said it a lot in this video, but it's just an honest car. I wish they made cars like this still. They don't. It's such a shame. Because simplicity is, you know, it's good. I have modern cars. I've got new cars and stuff and have owned them and everything. But there's certain things on some of these newer cars I don't want to touch. You know, and I mean new like, you know, late, like 2015 and newer certain things. Cars in the 2000s and 90s, that's still simple. It's the current era of vehicles that's really kind of complicated. Like I said, the power's good, temperature's good. It's really good on fuel too. This thing, for what it is, it does rev a little high in the freeway, so you don't have efficiency there. But this thing will get like 30 miles to the gallon. I mean, it's really good. And it has enough power to get out and wave itself, unlike the diesels, which the diesels are not, they don't have any power. You can barely get up over this hill over here. You can see me over 40 miles an hour. A TDI swap, that's a really cool thing. I have a friend of mine, Justin, who has a TDI swap 79 Rabbit hatchback. Loads of fun. I mean, it's a fun car. I love torque. You've heard me in my other videos talk about torque. Torque. I just love torque, and that has torque. It's a really fun car. Inside, it's not even that loud. As of right now, I'm not running a catalytic converter. Don't tell anybody. But yeah, I mean, I just wanted to take you out and show you. And that's my 82 Rabbit pickup. Just thought I'd share it with you guys. Not seen too much anymore, especially on the East Coast. These things rotted out within 5, 6, 7 years. It's very rare to find one of these back east in rust-free condition. This one is completely rust-free. There's not a speck of rust on this thing. People love this thing. They see it, they wave, thumbs up, you know, all that stuff and everything, because you never see these things again, you know. So hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe. I'll get some more videos out very soon. It's a lot of work. So anyways, have a good day.